here, so hang tight. Ooh. Well, I guess I shouldn't complain. That's possibly one potential problem solved that was plaguing us earlier this week. I just feel sorry for some of the other people that are going to have to go through and redo what I just had to do. Alrighty. Everything's trying really hard. Hey, everybody. How's it going today?
What's up?
Let me double check and make sure that we're getting
What's up, coffee cup? Anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check to make sure.
Don't tell me you're going live and my head's down typing.
I'm typing.
And well, yeah, but you have a different view than I do.
Ooh. Hey, Tracy. Okay. Feed is good on YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. We're good across the board here. I can actually go grab my coffee and then get rid of my coffee cup on the screen. Yeah, in case people are wondering, there's only a few people watching right now. Short stack means this is going to be a shorter stream tonight. We're probably just going to go about an hour or so just to do some updates and stuff and see what's going on with everybody. Coffee is good. Alrighty. Hey, you got some more color in you today, man.
It depends on the lighting. It's like weird.
That was a compliment.
Better lighting, I guess. You know, you kind of still feel the same.
Did you actually get a new light in, or?
No, it depends on what's on the monitors. I think my monitor brightens up the room to some degree.
Oh.
And depending on what's up on my screen.
Well, you got like some flesh-colored porn going on right now or something? Because you got some really nice color going on. You're normally kind of ghosty. Hey, Roxas. Just trying to get caught up on everything.
I think the light actually fell sideways behind my monitor, so it's casting it better.
Well, use your phone and take a picture of how it's set up because it looks really good right now. And your green screen isn't ghosting like it normally does. It looks good. So
cool. Yeah, I probably should get my other light in here. I just can't find it at the moment.
Hi, Ben.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, Dutch. Now everybody's starting to roll in. Weird day. Started out kind of nice and pleasant, slow, relaxed, didn't even feel like getting dressed. Then all of a sudden tons of little micro thunderstorms started rolling in throughout the whole course of the day, driving my dog up the wall. Yeah, there's some cool stuff going on. There's not jack shit going on with artillery though. The groups have been relatively quiet except for the normal, I can't set my slicer up, I can't level my bed, stuff like that.
Nothing works and artillery sucks posts. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of those recently too.
I got tired of answering those this week.
You got one guy that just constantly wants to complain, it seems like.
Yeah, you can get that all the time, though. Cool stuff. Earlier this week, earlier this stream, I shot a message out on behalf of a couple of the other guys that were inquiring about paint, airbrushing and modeling paint and stuff like that to see if I could get a deal worked up from a couple of the companies out there. and I'm talking with a couple of them. Hopefully, I'll get an answer sometime this weekend on some potential promo codes, stuff like that. Also, Badger just announced today. Let me get this beastie pulled up on the screen right here. Badger just announced today this limited edition gold Sotar. I've been contemplating picking one up just because, well, people say it's has a little bit better capability of doing some finer lines and things like that. I'm skeptical, but nonetheless, it still looks cool. And then they come out with this. So
it's a 2020 Pimp Edition.
yeah. I just call that the grill. I'm sure it's just gold plated. They haven't announced a price yet, though. I'm trying to get in on that with them too and see if I can get an answer out of them. But comparatively speaking, I'm just a little guy, so it'll probably be, by the time they get around to answering me, they'll probably say something on their Facebook groups already. I want one just because it looks cool.
Just think of all the fingerprints you're going to get on
it. Shockingly enough, whenever I'm doing model work or anything like that, I typically use hand sanitizer, which has alcohol in it. So I don't get fingerprints on a lot of my jewelry stuff while I'm working with it. Although that in and of itself just looks like a fucking magnet, especially for somebody with OCD. Like me. Also, something else that came up earlier in the week, Big Tree Tech. They had a live stream, one of those kind of funny live streams that they do with the people wearing masks and you can't understand them anyways. They
said they don't give each other corona.
Yeah.
They don't want to give you corona through the computer.
I guess. And the people work together every day, so it's like you guys are already exposed.
It's like the knuckleheads that drive with the mask on by themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, are you going to give yourself corona?
Yeah, the new TFTs from Big Tree Tech, they've also got, and I don't have anything up on the screen with it right now, they've also got a, is it a 2226 stepper drivers that they also released?
I'll wait on those.
Yeah, especially with something like that, you always wait. That also means the good solid 2208s and the 2209s.
Yeah, 09s
will come down in price, hopefully. So my geekiness and everything like that is the mid-range. It's the 5-inch LCD. Yeah, it's the 5-inch one. It's like 4.5 or 5-inch. I've been wanting to put together a package that I can drop on everybody for a solid, let's replace the TFT, let's replace the main board with an SKR, all in one fell swoop into the Sidewinders. They were nice enough for these LCDs. They included on their Thingiverse a couple of STLs for mounting the LCDs, which they're open backed and everything, which I'm not a fan of, but the when Dutch, when you say, what do you mean by mirror the screen?
Yeah, because I can read it perfectly on the way it's up. Well, here's my thing, though. You're not going to be able to do a direct drop-in anyways, in reality, because of the way they do the case on the artillery.
Well, what I was talking about was included some mounting brackets, the printable mounting brackets and stuff like that to put the whole shot in. When I put something like that together, I do the whole thing. So,
well, no, I was just saying, because that's why I made the STLs I made for mine, because the their cutout is like a little sliver. It isn't the full screen that's cut out. So it wouldn't. I mean, even if you could come up with a way of putting it in, it's only a little section that's cut out. So you'd have to cut that whole screen out if you wanted to put it in.
Oh, I'm not talking about actually putting it in the mounting it into the case.
Okay.
But the version 1, 2, and 3-ish definitely have a different hole than the version 4s. Now that I've got a couple of them here at the same time for comparison's sake and everything like that, I'll probably end up having to do one, because I basically want to make it so it snaps right in. You can take your old LCD out and you can snap this new one right on, right into the old one.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the 3s and up, but I know like the 1 and 2 have that little slit instead of being, so the ribbon just slides through more or less, and then the screen sits on top of the case.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I was saying, because that's like everybody needs a different case depending on what version you have, which is another pain.
Yeah, earlier, a couple days ago, I've had a couple more of the Elegoo Mars sitting here in their boxes. I haven't even pulled them out just because I've been busy doing other stuff. So it's like I got some prints I got to do, and instead of putting them on the other printers, I said, well, I'll give these a shot on the Elegoo, see how they do. And that's a ring that I'm putting together. It happens to resemble my doggy almost perfectly. I'm doing some slight modification to it, putting her name on it and stuff like that. But I did, my first print, I imported my old settings from Chitubox into it, and I just went ahead and, from past experience, I just went ahead and sliced it and threw it on the printer without looking really closely at the differences between my old settings and perhaps the last time I updated Chitubox was probably about 1.5 years ago, because I don't do auto updates. And if it works, don't fix it. In other words, same thing with slicers. Well, for some goofy reason, my imported settings and everything made the fine point supports like hair thin. They almost weren't even there. I had to look twice in some spots, and it's like, shit, I'm surprised. But surprisingly enough, the damn supports printed. It's just that they weren't solid enough to hold the model onto the supports. So after I seen that, then my second print came out perfect and beautiful, so on and so forth. So. XSplit's got to get their little dig in on that.
They have to advertise.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got I do. I have it on the bench over there real quick. Roxas, I'm one of those guys that tell people almost right off the bat, stay away from doing auto supports. I went through the whole early on with resin printing back, a few years ago. We didn't have really good software that was capable of doing good auto supports, and in my view, depending on the models, if they're real simple models, they look like they come out pretty good, but more complex models and things like that, all the slicers are still shit. And rather than going back through and trying to negotiate with the program about which ones are going to work and which ones aren't, for me it's faster just to go through and hand place all of the supports. And the newer version of Chitubox has made that really nice, really easy. People are complaining about it crashing on them all the time and everything like that, but I haven't had that issue. I've probably done about 30 or 40 complex models over this last week, getting them all scheduled to get ready to print and stuff like that, and I haven't had it crash or do anything like that.
Yeah, mine's been pretty solid, and honestly, some of the auto supports do really well on my version.
One of the newer,
Surprisingly, I've gotten some decent prints with the auto supports.
yeah, one of the newer enthusiasts that's been showing up like on the artillery group and now in the Elegoo group and everything like that, a fellow by the name of Delwyn, he just started going crazy, and he's done nothing but use auto supports, and all his models are coming out fine. I'm just, with me, it's maybe OCD, and I'm like maybe into the habit of micromanaging the files.
Well, I think the big thing is trying to figure out which ones to use, heavy, light, or, you know. I usually keep them on light and run it that way. And if I don't like the way it is, I just redo them myself. But it's been pretty spot on where I'd put supports most of the time.
There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, once I looked things back over a little bit, get that to focus in there a little bit. Those are my mediums, which I've seen mediums on some other people's models, and they're huge. I do a lot of small detail work and everything like that, so for me, I think I threw a video up. I don't know, maybe I can get it to play on the stream.
What's going on, Len?
Hey Len, how's that PEI working out?
God, this kitten is annoying.
Getting ready to start raking your back?
He's tearing up stuff behind me, so it's making me wonder what he's getting into he shouldn't be.
Just a matter of time then, maybe.
Because he seems to like the printers and the filament and all my models.
Things that move.
Well, they move when he whacks them, and then they become his toys. That's what I figured out. So it's like if it falls on the ground, it becomes fair game. Doesn't matter that he helped get it to the ground. It's just once it's down there, it's fun to play with.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I'm getting stuttering on my end with the feed. That's weird.
Everything sounds good on my end. I'm not showing any...
No, I know. I'm just saying it's my end. I'm receiving it bad.
Well,
I can tell.
I changed... earlier today, I changed over to the Chicago Restream server to see if that's what was giving me grief, because I've been... since I'm near to Washington, D.C., I've been using that one. And when I fired up earlier today on the Chicago one, it was choppy as hell, and I couldn't get any good frame rates out of anything. There, I'll throw this up. I don't know if the sound will come through for you guys. Can you guys hear the sound from that video playing through? Oh, that's cool. I'm glad.
So you can make like knuckle dusters? Is this the plan?
You know, dude, that ring, if I decide to cut loose on somebody, they're gonna get hurt.
be a restricted item for duty. It's cool looking though. It just seems a little tall.
Well, if you have ever seen, well, it's just because it's standing up too. It's meant to ride down on your finger a little bit. If you've ever seen
So
any,
down to your knuckle.
Yep. If you've ever seen it,
It's hard to tell from the way it's sitting how it would sit on a hand.
yeah. I've already had the prototype and everything on my fingers and stuff like that, so I'm already comfortable with where it's at. But if you've ever seen those, like the old Giger-esque metal rings, heavy metal type rings, like the little armored finger rings and things like that that you could wear and stuff like that, this is right along that same line. A lot of the Norse, I hate using the term Viking in this case, but a lot of the Norse styled or stylized jewelry that I'm going to be doing is of a similar knuckle dusting type. So you guys
Pretty much what it was for.
Yeah, you guys will be seeing that.
It was armor for your hand.
Well, the color for the model in and of itself is irrelevant. That's going to be that's actually
cast that anyways, right?
Yeah, that's getting put into a RTV mold, so I can inject wax with it and make more than one. I don't do one-offs, and I won't use the castable resin.
Don't they have a wax resin?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Why won't you use that though? I'm wondering.
It stinks, and regardless of what people say, they say, "Oh, no ash, it's clean in the burnout and everything like that." They usually ain't. And I steam de-wax all of my waxes, all of my models that I put into molds. So that means that I don't put the molds into a kiln and burn all of that wax out and make all that smoke and shit.
Okay.
Any of the smoke, anything that you're burning off inside of your kilns over time degrades your heating elements and things like that. I'm not a fan of that. And burning wax, that's being vaporized inside of a kiln stinks to high hell. The resins stink even worse. So I basically use different types of jeweler's wax and things like that. I wax inject into the molds, and then those, prior to being put into the kiln for bringing up to casting temperature, they get steam de-waxed. In other words, you use hot steam to melt the wax out and have it all run out. Works out a lot better, a lot less smell too. And
I'm just trying to find the shortest steps to get to that, because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of that for my daughter, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay, I'm just going to tell people you guys are free to experiment all you want. You'll find that those casting resins are about $100, $150. If you make a mistake with your print, you just wasted a pretty good chunk of money there. And like I said, the equipment that you use for getting the models to being cast involves high heat, kilns for burning the stuff off and everything like that. And once you've had a room full of that smoke, or you've had expensive heating elements on kilns and equipment degrade because that shit sticks to everything, you'll think twice about the time that you saved. And realistically, you're just cutting out maybe one step. I personally like the idea, if I'm going to spend the time to make a model and print it, I want to be able to reproduce it 1 time, 10 times, 50 times, or 100 times. With the one-off, every time you want to make another one, you got to print it again.
Right.
So versus I can walk over to a shelf, look its number up, pull it down, walk over to the wax injector, and I can do 100 of them. Hey, thanks for the follow there. It's J.R. Heaton. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the show. Yeah, anybody else new that's watching, like, subscribe, follow the channel. You'll get notifications.
We were having a discussion on Discord, me and him. So.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about the TFT, and I don't know how to explain why it blocks the M600.
Hi, Tracy.
Why it's such a troublesome thing, the way it is. I don't. I mean, I'm not a coder, so trying to explain to people who code doesn't like process for me. So
shouldn't the people who code be explaining things to you then? No, I'm saying, shouldn't it be the other way around though?
Well, I mean, if you don't know why something's doing something, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
How else do you learn unless you ask people? Like I said, I swapped out my boards because I was tired of dealing with it being blocked, so I just changed it. I knew the LCDs worked, so that's kind of the way I went with it. It was like, okay, I know what this works, so... And the reason why it's communicating, I'm not really 100% sure, and I think he found it, but I know that since they've made it, and I want to say that was 2016, 2017, they actually made the maker base, made that TFT, and they've had nothing but issues with it. Now, somebody else has said that they've come up with a workaround for it.
Yeah.
But... I mean, honestly, I have no way to test it because I'm not going to go backwards.
Spend an afternoon fucking around with it. It's not as easy as it sounds.
It didn't look easy when I saw it, and like I said, it's a workaround, which is more than they ever did. So I'm not bagging it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Twice as complicated, whereas I can just buy, a $25 screen, flash it, and be on my way, as opposed to trying to figure out why this code's to that code.
Yeah, and for me, I already got Simplify 3D, so I don't need to mess with any of that shit.
Some people are having trouble with that, though. I think Cornfed had an issue with that, where it knocked off the print for some reason. It skipped, so he lost position when he went to do the second file.
Except for the very first print that I did with it back about 4 years ago or so, maybe 5. Yeah, it's probably getting closer to 5 now. I have never had a multicolor print fail. So there's something that... Now, okay, all of my profiles use Z-Hop, so it's very possible that that might have something to do with it. I don't know, I'd have to research it more.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, how or what he did, because I don't use your method. So... I just know he had a trouble with it, and I couldn't answer him because I don't use your method. So,
well, I did shoot an inquiry out. I won't fuck with Idea Maker because to me it's a free version of Simplify 3D, and I already have Simplify 3D.
Right.
So there's other people that are playing with that and pursuing it. But I did shoot a message out to them, basically saying, hey, if you want just a little bit more real estate and everything like that, and if you want my support, you need to get processes going in there. Let me get this pulled up real quick too. I want to give you guys some updates of some of the other stuff I've been doing here. That will also probably explain my bags under the eyes again and why we're having a shorter stream tonight. I expanded. Let's get on the right screen here. There are now some additional areas on the Nexus for video libraries. Especially, you'll notice you people that are into the painting and the modeling and stuff like that. I completely started chucking in a lot of my favorite playlists between all of the ones here. Airbrushing basics and advanced 1 and 2. Color theory, that was there last week when I showed you guys. I added model painting and creation. That, those two sets of videos cover just all the fun, happy stuff with creating your own miniatures and terrain and things like that. as well as over into the casting and mold making side, you'll also see that there's some new areas in there too. And each of the sections can contain up to about, I think the biggest one I got in there is about 400 videos. So if you ain't got nothing to do on a weekend or something like that, if you have a subject you want to pursue, you can pretty much just sit back and just for the hell of it, you can pretty much just sit back and watch TV. And as I state for everybody, with the content authors, if you guys enjoy the content that these guys are putting out and stuff like that, like and subscribe to their channels, visit their sites if they have them, and support them too. Because for as many videos as I've got in playlists and things like that I've put together for my own research and going back to and boning up on and brushing up on, I like learning new stuff too. There isn't any way any one person could produce all of this content in their lifetime. So I'm expanding it more. I've got about 8 or 9 other categories and about another 2,000 videos that I'm going to be adding to these libraries. Over this last week, the total of what I put in is probably close to at or near around 1,000 videos. So have fun with that shit. It's all there for you guys. And I also like some of my other stuff, like for the artillery printers and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that are, you know, hey, I'm new to this. I don't want to spend 10 grand. You know, I just want to get in and start doing some small stuff. I'm putting together places you can go. Some of them are affiliate links and some of them aren't, for getting set up relatively inexpensive with equipment that I use or have used, you know, stuff I'd stand behind. In other words, I know it's good quality and the stuff will work. So that's going to get expanded onto. And after we get into doing some live shows and things like that, and I get a couple more cameras out into the studio areas and the foundries and stuff like that, we'll walk you guys through doing some casting and stuff. In other words, instead of just printing fucking benchies, they actually make some functional and some cool shit with your printers and turn it into something even cooler if you so wish. So bum, bum, bum. What have you been printing, Taz?
Just some statues here and there. And then running whatever gets ordered off of treat stock.
Yeah, I was hoping. I was hoping I mentioned earlier. I don't know if everybody that was involved with it earlier this week. I was trying to get some promo codes from some of the paint companies going out there, and I've also sent a plug out to Badger and Iwata. So we'll see if we can get some of that going. I'm still drooling over Mike's stack of airbrushes that he showed us earlier this week. The guy got there's about 10 or 12 of them. Something.
He posted 2 of them on there for you. They're on the.
Well, I know the pictures are on there, but I think he said it was like he got like a dozen airbrushes, and 2 of them are at a minimum $150 each.
Right.
What is that? The dog or the cat?
That's the dog.
Okay. I was just gonna say, what is that dog doing to that cat, man? Or what is that cat doing to the dog?
Dog's got a new toy.
Oh, squeaky toy.
Yep.
That's cool then.
And she's very happy with it, so.
Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, like the 2 that he got were like covered in what he spent on them, which is cool.
Yeah, he for like $300 he got all those airbrushes, and then he got another mound of stuff to go with it. Yeah. But 2 of them.
Good buy.
Yeah, 2 of them in particular there are $150 airbrushes, And I'd venture, I didn't zoom in on the picture, I'd venture a couple of those that are in there, if the person spent that much on those two, a couple of those other models that are in there are probably getting close to that too. And then around the outside edge, there's some shit paches.
So pache.
Yeah. Since we're there, yeah, some of the other stuff that he got, air hoses, you know, there's shit just in air hoses right there and everything like that. There's about $60 in air hoses there.
Yeah, they got the adjustable block, which for different brushes too, which is nice.
Yeah, different brush
Fitting.
manufacturers have different connections that they need, and he's definitely got a couple of them already covered in there, which stands to reason. Like I said, the thing that he got from the person, yeah, there's the two expensive ones right there. XSplit has got to get its dig on before it fires the camera up. It's got to advertise itself. I'm gonna hack open the executable and get rid of that shit, or put a monkey on it.
I don't know why you get that though, because I don't get that on mine. Are you not licensed on XSplit itself then?
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not.
I'm just asking if you're using the free version.
No, I bought it all.
Okay, because normally it only comes up when you have the free version.
No.
And then you buy the add-ons.
No, I'm bought into all of it, actually.
Okay.
I was the one that told you about the VCam deal that was going on for like $14.
Yeah, and I missed it because I didn't realize what you were talking about, because I use XSplit for everything else. I don't usually use their plugins.
Echo, who's your daddy?
That is easy to answer. It is you all.
Yeah, you know it. She said something a minute ago and I failed to tell her to shut up. Okay, I'm going to refresh my coffee. I will be right back. Hey Len, have you had a chance to play with that PEI sheet on your printer? Is it working out good for you?
How could it not? Well, that's good, because I like the PEI sheet. It actually worked out really well. Less headache for me. Yeah, see, I already had actual glass, unlike some of the newer users of the artilleries. I already had the basic glass, so I always got the glass finish on the bottom of my prints, which I've always enjoyed. Because even when I was starting out with the Ender 3 Pros, that had that crummy build plate. I don't know if I got one sitting around here or not, but yeah, it's got this magnetic crap. These things. And it always puts some kind of weird, like, residue bumping on my prints, and I never liked it. So then I bought the glass for the Enders, and I bought the basic glass. I used the basic side. It came with both. It came with the ultra base style on one side, and then it was flat glass on the other. I always put on the flat glass because I like that way better than I don't want like a grippy print for most things. I mean, unless you're making something that's going to be like a desk with TPU and you want the grippiness on the bottom. How did he get wet? Oh, okay, sorry. Yep, there's my new co-host crawling on my desk and jumping off the desk with whatever he grabbed. Yeah, after a while with the heat cycling and actually just printing, a lot of that bevel you're gonna get is gonna go away. So, and you guys don't understand when it's brand new, it's hard. You gotta kind of learn to work around it a bit at first until it can kind of settle in. And I see Lord Candy posted in our artillery Discord the M600 hack change on the Marlin, which we were talking about earlier. It seems a little more complicated than just swapping a screen out to me, but who am I? And the main reason I switched was because, like I said, originally it's a copy of the maker base design, and it's been out over 2 years now, and it hasn't been corrected properly since. And they kind of just skipped over it, so they stopped kind of supporting it, and then went on to the TFT duels, and just avoided the whole issue in their next batches of stuff. So it's kind of why I just figured, you know what, I'll just switch it out. It's just easier. I'm trying to work around. I'd like it to be a little more seamless. Go back into the case would be nice, but is he like making the beans for the coffee, or? I don't know. It's weird. He goes to make coffee, but I think he like goes on a trip to get it from like Starbucks or something.
Hey, I'm in a building that is about 500 feet long, dude.
And you put the coffee pot on the other side of the building when you want coffee?
It's in my kitchen, which is all the way outside of the offices and
You
halfway
should
to
have
my...
a spare coffee pot in your office.
No.
Just saying.
Office is where electronics are. Office is where
Coffee pot's electronic. I got the pod
resin.
system, man. I make one cup at a time.
Yeah. Have you tasted resin yet?
Not really. No, it's not my biggest thrill.
Well, being that you have drinks all the time and everything like that in there with your stuff, eventually you'll taste resin. Once you've done that, yeah, you'll do everything I can. Or you'll do everything you can to keep it separate.
Dutch, unfortunately, trying to get a glass bed from artillery is non-existent. They're not going to make the old ones anymore. They're up there. They're new ones that are with the ultra base style. So no, the only way you're going to get similar to glass is PEI or putting glass on top of the actual glass you already have.
You can get a 310 by 310 millimeter, which is the size of the glass bed, piece of 4 millimeter borosilicate glass that's got beveled rounded edges and stuff like that. You can get a hold of the flat, what are those things called again? I keep forgetting what they're called. They're basically a large flanged screw. It's what they have on the bottom of your glass beds right now, and some JB Weld, and basically make your own, but that's like a hell of a lot of work for such a small return. You're better off spending about $12 and getting a piece of aluminum and making yourself an aluminum bed, which I will be showing you guys how to do here pretty soon. One more thing to get.
But in the interim, as an aftermarket thing, Gizmo Dorks has the PEI sheet you can get. And then you can use the code 3D Nexus and get 10% off too. So there's that option, which gives you the same finish as glass does. And it's less intrusive. So that would be your aftermarket option. Yeah, I really like it, Len. I mean, like I said, it saved me a lot of headaches. I still use a mixture of hairspray and alcohol, iso alcohol for like my specialty prints because I don't want it to fuse because you don't want to use PET G on it with no barrier because that'll fuse really well and will not come out. Don't ask me how I know.
Alrighty.
Yeah, nothing wrong with options. Options are great. Like I said, it's just I wish they still sold the glass bed because I mean the chrome logo alone and that black glass was gorgeous.
That's what turned me on to them to start.
Yep, that's what caught my attention on the printer when I first saw it. I was like, that is just a beautiful bed.
Yeah, I just got the first batch in. Sourcing the right ones, I'm kind of particular about the sizes. It's a hex head screw for the aluminum beds. Once I show you guys how to make these and everything like that, you'll be able to pretty much strap a chain to your printer and kill somebody with it if you want to. Dutch, you putting a second printer together? Is it another artillery that you got a hold of?
Sorry, I had to mute for a sneeze there. Whew. Hey, baby. How are you?
Woof woof.
She's hard to see. She's a brindle.
Is that a pity?
She's a, what is it? Pit mix with like a shepherd and something else. And Rottweiler. So it's like a shepherd Rottweiler pit mix. She's a Heinz 57 dog.
Yeah.
Huh? What's the matter, baby? What?
Yeah, artillery's standing out from some of the other printers that are out there. I just seen a video the other day on, is it Tom Sandlander did a review on the Anycubic. Did you see that video?
Not yet.
Oh God, hey, you talk about a train wreck.
That bad, huh?
I won't give you guys any major spoilers or anything like that, but for once I made it through one of his videos and can agree with him from beginning to end. So there's some knob polishing for you.
You're entirely welcome. I'm glad my video helped somebody.
I was going to say thank you. I'm going to check real quick here.
I guess to figure out my direction, I'm going to go on the Elegoo. I haven't decided yet.
Well, did I hear or see right that you did manage to get in on a Saturn? Is that what you were
Yes,
saying?
I did.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Elegoo has put themselves even higher on the map over the last week or so by introducing, 2 weeks now, by introducing their large format Saturn printer for a freakout, and that's a Randy Savage Macho Man freakout price structure of about $400 early bird, and about $500 or so after the fact printer.
Well, it was the pre-order was still 500 because you got to pay the shipping. So it was 400, and then it was $100 for shipping. So
After you ship to a lot of different places in the world, you learn to leave shipping out of it. Because, like, for us here, well, Elegoo in this particular case, they're awesome because they primarily only sell through Amazon. So when it does hit retail, if you have Prime, you're going to get some pretty good pricing on that because they don't, you don't get China pricing for
right.
shipping. If you try ordering just say a comparable size printer to the Mars, just say like a Wanhao D7, or if you get a hold of like an Anycubic, or even from Vietnam / Taiwan frozen, right now the shipping rates are hellacious. Hey, Wrecking Crew, welcome to the stream.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't complaining. I'm just saying it was still 500. So
Yeah, they said that their pricing is going to remain under the cost of some of the other current popular models out there, which the lowest priced one in their list was about $600. And for that size of a format printer, for somebody who's used to already paying $1,200 or $1,500 for those bigger printers and things like that, I'll buy two or three at that price. So
right, break up your models on 2 or 3 of those instead of buying a big one.
the only thing, and people can do what they want. It wasn't that I was trying to get a hold of one. I don't have to worry about getting a hold of one. So it wasn't that I was trying to save slots or spots for myself or anything like that. But as a first printer, hey
What's
Grumps,
up, Grumpy?
for a first printer, even if now you got a hold of a Saturn, if it's your first resin printer, if you have the money and you're willing to do it, try to pick up one of the smaller format ones anyways that you can get a hold of, through Amazon or whatever, relatively soon, and practice on that one.
Oh yeah, because there's a slight learning curve, especially with slicing. Slicing's a bit different to wrap your head around. At least in my, I'm used to the FDM style, so.
And while it is somewhat pricier than, let me see if I can, where do I got this at? Let's see if I can find this here. Yeah. Let me bounce this over here. There's a beta, a Saturn beta tray right there, to give you a size comparison for the current Mars, and that's the one on the right. That's kind of the current standard relative size for just about all the models out there. Yeah, the Mars, the Creality, the Anycubic, any of the ones out there, and you can see that the Saturn is pretty much twice the size.
Yep.
Both ways. So you're going to be more than doubling the amount of resin that gets put in there, and you will easily put half a liter, and that's $20 a pop, into that tank. So you don't want to learn and practice on a big format printer like that.
We start looking for resin in gallon buckets.
Well, something I pointed out too to people, we're really fortunate now. Resin just even a few years ago and everything like that. I'm used to paying 70, 80, 90 bucks for a liter of resin, and these 25 and $30 liters of better resin now is fucking awesome price wise.
Yeah.
There we go.
Because I'll still print my bases out for my models on the FDM printer, and then I'll do the detail with the resin. When I want something that's high detailed, I'll throw it on the resin printer now, which is nice.
Well, the biggest printer I've seen to date, commercially speaking, had a build area of about 24 inches by, it's like almost 40 inches. Now, but that wasn't DLP, the LCD screen type of printers that everybody's used to using right now. This was actual SLA, also using the laser for curing. So, different tech right there.
Yeah.
Everything's quiet on the artillery front. Normally there's people with a lot of questions. Does this mean we've professionalized and fixed everyone out there in the world?
Nope, because I've seen a couple of them posting about the crack and heat break, not knowing they still had one. I'm like, we've posted about that 80 friggin' times. I don't know how you missed it.
Nobody uses the search bar on.
Unfortunately, I mean, I honestly think that artillery should include something in their instructions, let people know they have the newer models so that it don't get screwed up.
Yeah, just like a sheet of paper that's printed.
Yeah,
that
just
says,
a little. Hey, you know what? Guess what? You don't have a standard heat break. You need to make sure you don't try and unscrew it because it takes grub screws. Give somebody a heads up. Jeez. I mean, granted, when you change your electronics and stuff, that's kind of nominal. You don't really have to tell people because, of course, now we're having problems with that. People ordering the daughter boards or PCBs, and you got to order them in sets if you want to replace them, because you can't replace the old ones with new ones because of the way they routed the wiring. So now it's another confusion.
Well, and also the resellers, a couple of them have stepped up and they kind of have some nice little notes, about the versioning and everything on the boards that they got, but for a long time they didn't.
Because they didn't understand. They didn't know. I mean, a lot of them didn't even know because no one told anybody. So they start selling you parts and don't tell you stuff. It's like, it'd be nice to know.
Yeah. You got to do that. Yep. Doggy run. I'll be right back. My turn. I'm surprised we haven't seen your cat on your shoulders yet.
He's running around the house like a crazy. He's got the scoots. He's scooting here, scooting there. Thankfully, he's not scooting here too much.
What's his name?
Binks.
Binks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still liken him to the George Carlin cat.
So how'd you strip through and ground some filament? Or did you just get an oddball size filament, or did you get a slight clog? Yes, it's that's my daughter loved that movie as a child, so she named her cat Binks. Hocus Pocus. They get to name the animals, I don't. I get outvoted. Oof. Look up some air printing. That sucks. I hate that. I got a little carried away the other day with ordering stuff, so I ordered a bunch of heat breaks and blocks because I got tired of seeing my nasty looking ones that get all gunked up. So now like I have like a collection. If you've seen my video, you'll see that I have a collection of these now. And then not realizing that I had ordered some from China before that, I got even more.
Yeah, speaking of which, if you can, throw the link for that last video up in the chat.
I forget. I don't promote well. I'm not good at self-promotion.
It got nothing to do with promotion. It's having your shit together.
That too. I never claim to have my shit together. You know. That will require a lot more work than I'm usually willing to do.
If I could train the fucking macaques I got in the rafters around here and everything like that to do half the shit I need done. The reason I don't have anything on the printers today is because I spent the last 2 days putting close to 1,000 fucking videos in playlists for the Nexus website. And if any of you guys out there have ever, set up your own playlists and things like that on YouTube, what does that mean? Go to a video, click on the plus, add it to a playlist. Go to another video, click on the plus, add it to a playlist.
It's a bit easier on YouTube to do your playlist, though.
You still got to look at the video. You can't just right-click on a video in a list.
No, you can. You can actually do it in the, whatever you call it. Oh, what the hell's it called? Give me a second. My brain isn't on right now.
YouTube Studio?
Yeah, the studio, you can actually go down the list, and it lists them all down, and you can just click on them and then add them to the playlist. You don't have to, like, individually click on each video.
But what it does is it saves it to a saved playlist and not an actual playlist. And the coding that I have on the website so that the content authors get credit for the views even on
I know what you're saying. I mean, I was just saying that it's easier when you do it for yourself, is what I was saying.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about your website. I was talking about it's easier as a YouTuber to do your playlist than it is what you were doing.
Yeah, the stuff.
So if I was adding it to, like, I have a website I still haven't finished yet. One of these days. But to upload to that is different. I mean, you'd have to do each individual one and then tag it properly and make it work. So I know I get what you're saying. I'm saying that the YouTube one actually made it kind of simple. Because before they had the studio, you had to do the same thing.
Oh, you used to be able to grab a playlist, from one of your other channels or something like that and copy it.
Right.
They don't let you do that no more. Why?
Nope.
Dumbasses.
I don't know why. Probably because someone changed the code and it became a feature. Not a bug, it's a feature.
Well, I'm familiar because I'm kind of in the background with some of this stuff. I'm, familiar with the YouTube API. That's what I had to use to code it into the website.
Yeah.
They just took it out. And it's like, what? Why would you want to discourage people?
Maybe someone had an exploit on it?
All it is just a list of videos, technically.
I don't know. I'm not much of a coder. I'm honest about it. So,
almost dropped my headset and my coffee there. Shit.
but I was playing with the Elegoo, so I made a bigger version of Tomb Raider. She's not finished painted yet, but we're getting there.
Two-thirds. Yeah, Len, I do too. And I had hoped for a way to take my personal playlist because for everything from painting to modeling to ZBrush, name it. I thought it'd be easy just to code my playlists into the website. So nope. Some of these playlists I got 1,000 videos in, and they're all good videos.
Well, I'm gonna say it's the editors that had that done, so they can get paid for doing it.
They do anyways. That's what I'm saying. They do it through the
They made it
API.
harder so nobody else could do it.
It's like I've had a couple inquiries because I've done this on all my websites over the years. Everything from Celtic music to whatever. I've had content creators contact me and say, "Hey, I don't want you showing my videos on your site," and it's like, why? You get YouTube hits for it. What, really? Yes. And okay, you may get 100 people visiting your silly little channel and everything like that, and on my site, you're getting like 5K people watching it a week. Where the hell you think all your views are coming from? Oh, you're cool, man. You're welcome. But I don't know. YouTube is Google, and Google is fucked up right now. So
Well, I just got forced to get the new browser from Microsoft.
Edge, that Edge shit or whatever.
It's a brand new one. Yeah, it's another one that they came out with. It's a new version of Edge, I guess.
Well, I hacked my Windows up a little bit, so I don't see that shit on mine.
Yeah, I used to do that, and then it like got cumbersome, and I just like whatever.
Oh yeah, Len, the private playlists are always the best ones. Well, at one time,
Called Over the Edge.
Brazilian wax. Over, yeah, over the early inceptions of the expanded API for YouTube, they allowed content creators to disallow their videos, and they still do. They call it embedding. And that was supposed to make the creators feel more comfortable that their videos weren't going to be shown anywhere except on YouTube. Well, you can't watch a video and lock it down so far that it can only be viewed on YouTube. You can't do it.
Right.
But they word it as such, and people go through and they set their videos so that they can't be embedded and everything like that. But if you're working with the API and everything like that, you can still pull it anyways.
Just like you can still copy it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't copy it? Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah, you can. If you can view it on your computer, you can copy
My
it.
favorite is the guys that have like they do the artwork and they got it all restricted so you can't copy it. It's like,
or so that you can't right click on it.
Yeah, you can't save it. It's like takes me 2 more seconds to click on another program and just copy it off my screen. I still got it.
Yeah.
You didn't prevent anything. Now, if you put your idiot logo in the background of it, then I'm a little stuck. But
well, there's even for watermarks and stuff like that. If
you can remove that too, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother black hat forum thing that
I'm not getting into that. I was just saying I was laughing because guys get all like, it's not like I'm going to reproduce it or anything. Sometimes you want the picture for like a reference photo for something. It's not that I want to send it out or violate their copyright on it. I just want it for a reference photo for myself. And half the time it's like, oh, can't click on it. It's like, come on, man. I'm not trying to like use your work. I'm just trying to keep it so I can view it later on instead of having to keep going to a web page. And then when you mouse over it, it gets bigger and smaller. I want something I can sit stationary while I'm like doing painting. I like to have my reference photo.
I just came across a set of videos earlier today that kind of took me to say, I'll use the word moist again. When it comes down to the painting and the modeling and stuff like that, I mean, I've seen a lot of different techniques and things like that, and it takes a lot to kind of perk my interest now. But this, and it wasn't as much it was kind of like a 50-50 between both the company that is producing the models. It's a company that's out of Croatia. Let me see if I can get this pulled up. This is actually worth showing to some of you guys that are going to have interest in it. That's the other thing about having multiple YouTube accounts and everything like that. I got frickin'... It's like, which account did I view this shit on?
Yeah, I gotta clean that up. I need to clean out my old original account. Delete all my old videos and stuff, I think.
Come on, I know you're in here somewhere.
Because most of that info on my original one's outdated anyway, so.
There it is.
There's a mouse over my face. There you go.
Yeah, that's... Well, wait a minute. No, that's you, maybe.
No, that's not me.
It's time to make something big.
Okay. Let me flip over to the other screen real quick.
I can't mouse over my own face.
You were the other night.
That was a different window completely, and I was doing something totally different.
It's Real Terrain Hobbies. That's the channel. And it's a $2,500 gaming board doing realistic buildings. And let me just kind of bounce ahead here. Of course, I hit every single time just the guy's face. There we go. This stuff is awesome. The detail on it is, for me personally, I call it my level of detail, the stuff that I look for. But the cool thing about it, it was both the terrain and also the techniques that this guy had a couple of additional techniques that I don't know if they're new or not, but they're starting to use dry pigments, which I've never played with that before. I've never goofed around with using dry pigments, but this guy's just basically brushing the powder on. Let me see if I can get a shot of one of the...
Yeah, I've used some of that. When I did the military models, I use a lot of dry brushing.
No, not dry brushing.
Actually, the dry pigments. No, I'm just it's more like it's like a dry brush. Same idea. You just instead of making your own, you use the pigments, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, but instead of mixing them, this guy just slaps the powder on the models and then uses a spray bottle. And there we go. There's maybe a
Work and immense.
The grittiness of the stone and everything like that was just freaking awesome with this. But again,
Perseverance, man.
Again, like I said, it was a new technique and everything that I never thought about trying. And this guy used it in a bunch of different ways on these various models. I mean, you saw earlier that I was kind of showing you the whole list of them that they had to play with. There we go. And those models aren't cheap either, you know. When they say $2,500, there's a couple of the models that are in here that are like US dollars. They're like $150, $160 each. And if I was rich, I'd buy a few of them anyways. Yeah, Tabletop World is the... let me get that pulled up. Let me go to their shop real quick. No, I don't want. Don't dare add to basket.
Hmm.
There we go. Yeah, the sheer amount of detail on these things is freaking awesome. Anyways, check them out if you get a chance to. That's if you're into that sort of thing. I gotta start pulling some stuff in for you, sci-fi and various World War guys too. Oh, there's his earlier model and paint job this week. Yeah, as far as short stack goes, folks, and everything like that, we're not going to do a massively long stream. As a matter of fact, we're getting pretty close to going down with it right now as it is. It's been a long day for everybody. I've been working on the websites all day and everything like that, and I haven't even had dinner yet. So, and it's 11:30 p.m. my time. Now Taz has been saying his allergies have been kicking up, and mine finally started giving me some shit earlier today too. We had storms, so I think it's going to be an early night tonight. I'm thinking about doing a daytime stream tomorrow, which is Saturday. Thinking about doing a daytime stream, and if you guys are subscribed and following the channels and things like that, you'll get a notification. I'll try to get the channel scheduler set up at least a number of hours ahead of time so you get notification a little bit sooner. And other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot going on this week. The artillery end of things have been really quiet with everybody. I was supposed to get the remaining 3 colored GUIs up and out this week. That's actually been on the back burner over the last few days to get this other stuff on the website going. I'm going to be finishing that up this weekend for release early next week, and somehow try to manage to have some time for myself to sit down. As you see on the center cam there, I got models I got to start catching up on and painting with. I just had to tear all my airbrushes apart the other day and clean them all up after them sitting down or sitting aside for the season. So, oh, I also got a couple companies are sending me some bulk products and things like that that I'm going to be including in some giveaways. These are going to be a little bit more relational to the painting and the modeling and stuff like that, but I'm not going to tell you what those things are just yet. I'm still waiting on that stuff to come in. I don't want to get everybody's hopes up until I have the stuff in my hand and I can say, look, this is some of the stuff we're going to give away. Oh, he's back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, I just talked their ears. Just talked their ears off straight since you left. I haven't stopped talking the whole time. Taz is back. Make him shut up. There. I just got done telling everybody we're gonna, as far as short stat goes and everything, we're gonna shut it down here pretty soon because everybody's had their asses kicked this week in one way or another, shape or form.
Well, the weather's been in and out weird, so it doesn't help.
Well, my weather radar looked like a Irish maiden's freckled ass with regards to how many little microstorms were all over the map. And for about for about 3.5 or 4 hours straight, like every 5 minutes there's a little microstorm going right over the top of my place here. Oh, that's my WeChat ping. Hang on, I'll check that. maybe we might have something to share with you guys. Still
Oh, yeah, maybe not.
Well, I still got my fingers crossed. I'm still waiting on a couple of the paint companies to get back in touch with me, and they got my chat information. Oh, 69. We got time yet. Still, I was just kind of giving everybody a little bit of a heads up.
My scrap filament kind of goes into the scrap pile. I put it in a recycle bin. Honestly, I don't save any of it. I know there are a few that do, but just some of the errors and mistakes that I've made, it'd be an awfully large bin for me to hang on to. Water cooling. I think that's a bad idea. In all honesty, you've got a printhead that's moving.
If you've ever known anyone that has had a water cooled gaming rig and had that water cooled unit decide to take a shit at the worst possible time, you will come to the conclusion ultimately that water and electronics don't always necessarily mix. Especially if you're walking away from it and not able to monitor it over a period of time. What is that? They were ranting about a hot end that's got water cooling on it. Shit, starts with an A.
I've seen it. I can't remember the name of it. Like I said, I looked at it and I laughed. I'm like, that just looks like a bad thing to go wrong. Really easy. I mean, even with a PC, at least it's stationary. Now you're talking about a printhead that's moving back and forth with lines and everything else. It's bound to be bad.
Yeah, and realistically, I mean, as far as where we're at with the technology and everything like that, the cooling methods and systems that we have are fine. I mean, when it's necessary and where we're able, I mean, we're able to print nylons and shit like that with the cooling systems that are in place right now. What are you expecting to achieve with the water cooling that you cannot already achieve with
Basic fan setup.
Yeah.
And a heat sink. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was looking at. I was like, okay, this is just throwing more stuff on a printer to sell you stuff. I mean, even in production, they're not using water cooling for a reason. So, I mean, I know a lot of these bigger corporations that are still using the FDM don't bother water cooling because it just isn't worth it.
The only thing worth considering is a flex sheet, Marlin 2, and some Dickelectric grease. I keep telling you guys that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with modding, but I think modding to that point, you're asking for a problem you don't want. Because even like when Apple came out with the water cooling, you know how many of those failed? And that was them actually producing it and doing it the way it's supposed to be done. And I remember countless of those machines winding up pretty much being scrapped because once that thing leaks, it's all over. And like I said, that's not that's a stationary heat sink. Now you're talking about something that's slapping back and forth, and depending on how fast you go with it, there's a lot of weight moving around, and I just don't see the bonus of it. It doesn't make sense to me. Because I like the mod stuff. Everyone gets the wrong impression. I like modding things, and I like making things my own. So I get it. It's just sometimes it's like it's not worth, the juice isn't worth the squeeze kind of thing. You get to a point where it's either redundant or more troublesome than it's worth doing the mod. It's like, okay, I'll let somebody else play with it. I mean, I don't see that significant of a increase in cooling by using it. It just seems like a bigger expense. I mean, like I said, I get tearing apart your whole printer and putting in new stuff because I'm just as guilty as the next one for doing it. So, I mean, granted, I used my artilleries for almost a year before I decided to upgrade them. And it was just mainly because I wanted to switch to being able to do multicolored prints without having to watch or babysit. That's not good. But yeah, like I was saying, only real reason I actually switched the boards at all to 32-bit was because I figured I was jumping in already, changing the screens, so I could do the multicolored print rather. And I was like, well, I'm already in here playing around. I might as well upgrade, and then make it. I don't have to upgrade again. So that's why I modded the way I modded. It was like, okay, I'm already in here. I might as well make it work. I was trying to future-proof doing more mods again because I get caught up in that sometimes. I know with my Enders, I was continuously upgrading it. And at a certain point, I was like, okay, what am I actually accomplishing now anymore? Now it's printing fine. It's printing great. Why would I mess with it? So that's kind of where you got to figure out where you're going to draw your line. And then some of the new hot ends that come out. Yeah, I mean, I get caught up in it. I see some of the newer stuff, different materials. It's like, yeah. But then it's like, do I really need it? Because what problem am I going to try and solve? I always wanted it to be solving a problem for me, not creating a new one. That's kind of my problem. And there's only so far you can future-proof, unfortunately. I mean, this technology has come a long way in the short time that I've been around it.
Well, even the 32-bit boards, they've only been...
Thanks, BIOS. Appreciate it.
They've only been ramped up with 32-bit boards for about, what, a year and a half now?
Yeah, roughly. So it's about the same amount of time as Marlin 2 came out, because they were actually focusing on those boards, and specifically in that realm. They weren't trying to upgrade the 8-bits. They were trying to get into the 32-bit game.
It's like video cards, man. Wait a year.
Oh, yeah, and now it doesn't matter, because all the bit mining, now they're still expensive for no good reason.
They're starting to come, surprisingly enough, in comparison. I expected, because of the whole C word thing going on in the world these days, I expected the cards to go astronomical. They've actually come down in price.
Well, they've been astronomical, though. I mean, some of these are ridiculous.
Well, I
don't see the value in it. It's like, nope.
I still come from a time, though, when we paid $4,000 for a CD burner.
I come from that time too. I understand. I'm just saying, it's like, once you got down to it, really, get out of here. Here, take this and go. Go get it.
Was that the cat?
No, that's the dog.
Well, I seen a tail in the background, so maybe the cat went after it too. It's like
that's her tail.
Oh, okay.
The cat's gray and white, so
okay.
It has a black tail.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I've been tempted to play with the 32-bit stuff, but I wanted to let them work a few things out, and for me, Marlin is too young. I don't want to have to diaper my printer from one upgrade or update to the next, and I'm just starting to get comfortable now with what's going on. I showed earlier the Big Tree Tech announced a couple new TFTs and some firmware to go with it. That sparked my interest, and I'm working on playing with that stuff finally. And just like Taz mentioned earlier, I caught that when I was walking back and forth. All the printers I got here, they're pretty much stock, and I kept them stock, and I never even did anything with the firmware until I released the Marlin Advanced for everybody. I didn't need it. Still don't.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason why I bothered upgrading was because I knew I was going to change the screens. Now, I do wish you'd had this stuff before I started playing.
Sorry.
Or at least would make one to work with my BTT ones. Because I don't feel like coding it, I'll be honest. I'm not that great at coding, so.
I didn't like doing it myself, to be honest with you. I was kind of doing it as a community thing, and hated it half of the time because I could have been doing other things. But that's the way I roll with that stuff. Bed thermistor need to be embedded in the silicone.
No.
It doesn't need to, but it doesn't hurt that if it is.
But you're going to want to get it to as close to the bed surface as possible.
Yeah.
So you can't stick it underneath the silicone pad and expect it to work. You can't on the bottom of it. It's going to have to be in between the pad and the actual glass bed for it to register properly. And then you also have to keep in mind that the wiring running from it is going to be different because it's fused as well. So hopefully you didn't pop that fuse from the power end of it either. That's another thing you have to look out for. It might not just be the thermistor. It might actually be the fuse that's embedded in the silicone.
And how much are how much are the heater pads now? $20?
Something like that. They're like 25, I think. It's 25 or 35 maybe.
I know for me, guys, you guys can play with this stuff if you want. I don't look down on anybody that wants to, goof around and tear into stuff like that. But for me, I have what's called the $100 rule. If it's going to take up $100 worth of my time, I just buy it. I just get a new one if I can.
Well, I've done some crazy stuff to get it work until I got my new part. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, well, haven't we all? I mean, but if you've ever had it work out great, you're happy about it. If you ever had it gone south and not work out, yeah.
I've had a little bit of both. I've had my successes and a lot of failures.
Yep.
Sometimes you create a bigger problem that costs you more, so there's that too. What I'm still trying to wrap my head around are these with the ohms and resistance on these. It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not great at math, but the math on this doesn't make sense to me with the wild variances they're getting either.
If Gandalf the Grape was on, he's playing ESO and chatting with the hotties on Discord tonight, so
I'm looking at the numbers, and like I said, this ohming out to 32 is odd because then it almost makes it almost like I want to say that makes it an 80-watt cartridge. I'm doing the math right. It doesn't make sense to me how it wildly varies upon the same batch of heater cartridges to the next. It didn't make any sense to me. This is the one I didn't put in because it ohmed out that high. I'm like, I'm not going to put that on my system.
Well, yeah, Nate. There's no issue, with that or anything like that. I know if you want to get your printer up and running and you don't have any other choice except to, sit there and twiddle your thumbs. I mean, I'd try doing this stuff too. I'm not saying I won't. It's just that, If an issue happens more than once, or if I have a feeling that an issue might come up, I kind of try to think ahead of time and just have the shit handy. Or at least kind of ensure that I have a relatively close source that isn't going to take forever. I know, like I said, this C word thing is fucking everybody up right now, so we couldn't really plan or predict that.
Yeah, if you're going to run a hardline thermistor, hopefully it works for you. My only question is that all that went, though? That's where I'm at, because the heater might not be kicking on at all either. Like I said, there's a fuse in there, believe it or not. It's actually fused. So if something popped and the thermistor went with it too, you might not get it working anyways. Now, you can always test it. I mean, take a thermistor, plug it in, and as you go to heat the bed, use a blow dryer and heat it and see if the bed's actually heating up. That's how you can check it really easy.
You could just use a blow dryer on the thermistor for that matter.
Right. But I'm saying to make sure it's actually kicking on the heater. Because if you're not kicking on a heater, doing all that work is going to be a waste of your time, is all I'm saying. But you want to make sure you embed it into the silicone between the glass and the silicone itself, so you get a correct reading, or else it's not going to work right.
Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.
About 2 inches out of the base. Okay. I know it has a tendency when that happens, it dead shorts the actual line too on a few of them. I've seen it happen. For some reason, it dead shorted the power on a couple of them that had a problem with the thermistor wires breaking. It would short, and then it would short that line on the SSR for some reason. I don't know why.
Nate, man, if you have things torn apart, and you're getting back to wiring things back up and putting everything back together, something to consider. And I really, really wish all the manufacturers would do this anyways. A solid or just a piece of even the cheap white PTFE, run along those cables from the inside of the case all the way to the board, goes a long way for solving all of those fucking problems. And I mean,
it's not going to bend.
Yeah.
Now you're not going to fold it in half or catch it. It's going to stay curved as it's moving back and forth.
But it'll give enough. It'll give enough, and it won't impede the movement of the Y carriage. So it's just a simple fix that takes like pennies. And for the people that are manufacturing and putting these things together and everything like that, it's like an additional 30 seconds. You know, and to me, something like that saves, yeah. You could even, if you got some 3mm filament laying around.
It'll save you a ton of money.
Yeah. If you got some 3mm filament, like some ABS or something like that, you could use that too. You could use 175 filament, I guess, but if I was going to go that far, I'd probably use a couple of strands, at least.
Only trouble with the filament is over time it gets like worn and it'll snap. I mean, once it starts getting used to temperature, this at least you know is going to stay.
Well, that's what I said. That's why I said ABS, or even nylon, for that matter. You get some of the thicker 3mm weed whacker cord. That's nylon. There you go. Just don't forget to dunk it in some Dickelectric grease.
You gotta let that go, man.
No, sometime next year. Yep. Whatever you got handy, something that's flexible and isn't going to break, and it'll protect and save those wires.
Yeah, the only thing with the plastic wire loom is that allows it to bend. That thin stuff that they got on the wire loom, I don't like it that much because of the way it's made. It's got little gaps, so it will fold over on itself. And if it does, you're going to wind up getting the same kind of kink you did before. So even with the wire loom, run this on the inside of the wire loom so that it holds it in place and you don't ever get your wires crunching together or folding in half. Because I've used the wire loom on my Delta, and my Delta crushed it. It just folded it in half, and then I wound up having to rewire the whole thing. So keep that in mind.
Do that gesture again. That was so David Copperfield when you did that.
Did what?
with the cable.
Oh, the.
Yeah, that was so David Copperfield, man. Yeah.
Ta-da!
Okay, folks. I don't know if you guys caught it or not. When I trounced through the back shop area and everything like that, I noticed I got a roof leak back there that it isn't anything major, but I really need to attend to it. I think we're going to be done. We're going on hour 45, and I said we'd do about an hour and a half tonight, so went a little bit over. Unless you guys got anything else, I think we're going to call it for tonight. Like I said, if everything works out good, I may be looking at doing an afternoon stream, maybe during the day tomorrow, to kind of make up for it tonight. We'll see what happens. Alrighty, yeah, everybody new that showed up, appreciate you stopping in. If you haven't done so, like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're watching on. That should give you notifications of the future streams. Oh yeah, shit, that's right. This is Father's Day weekend too.
Yes,
I didn't.
enjoy the Father's Day weekend, all of you that are fathers.
Yeah,
Some of you that are unknown need to fix that. Just saying.
hey, when you're a rock star, you're a rock star, man.
If you could be a father, you might be. Just saying.
What day is? Oh God, I feel so bad. What day is Father's Day? Is it tomorrow
Sunday.
or Sunday? I think it's Sunday. Okay. I didn't want to try doing a live stream on Father's Day. I mean, that'd just be concrete slab for foundation. That's actually awesome. They, patio bricks and things like that, they work great. If you've got a bench underneath it that'll support it and everything like that, they're awesome. You'd be
Anything that's going to stabilize your print's going to be perfect. I mean, and obviously weight works. I mean, as long as you didn't put a concrete slab on top of a lag table that's wiggling, you're okay.
Yeah. You'll also notice too that you'll be surprised how much less your printer vibrates and how much less that translates into artifacts in your prints. So yeah, it's a good thing.
I mean, I can't put it on a card table and run it at full speed and expect it to be good.
You notice I didn't jump on that one. Alrighty, folks. I think we're good. Alright, appreciate everybody showing up. We're going to kind of take off here. Sorry for the short stream. It's just been a really long week. There's not much happening in the artillery arena. Other stuff, yeah, we're just kind of starting to fill in. I've been working heavy on the Nexus website, getting all the content put in for you guys, and we'll be picking up steam and going back to normal here shortly. So have a good night, and if we don't stream tomorrow afternoon, I'll probably see you guys Monday for the daily. That'll be 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again on Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then by that time Friday I'll be coming up next week back to our normal 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So have a good night, y'all. See ya.
Great night, guys. See ya.